Buenos días. Well, this summer we had the opportunity to do a mission trip to Central America. What can I both born and raised in Salvador? We work hard we went well, Salvador. San Salvador especially, but also it's a mix with some modern stuff. One day we were in El Salvador and my son Daniel said, "Really, guys?" So we had, Wendy's, Burger King, and all that stuff. So that's why he thought we were in the U.S. There are other beautiful cities like Ataco, perhaps, and we're not talking about Mexican food here. Ataco is a city. I bet you can have a taco in Ataco. Ataco is a city up in the mountains, nice weather, about 60 to 80 degrees all year round. There's a lot to see in that city, especially a lot of art, music, a lot of fun stuff. So if you come to El Salvador, you might want to come to Ataco. Also, there are a few things like, Mayan ruins in El Salvador. Might be interesting to see. But boy, there are good food too over there. That particular occasion, we went to this restaurant. They literally brought us the grill to take. And as you can see, we are happy in that picture. For some reason, I can tell that Doug was happier with a smile. El Salvador is a place for family, of course. If one day you want to come to El Salvador, bring your family. But also, El Salvador is a place to release some stress. So if you're stressed out, come to El Salvador. Get relaxed. Also a place to have some fun. There are pretty nice beaches in El Salvador. For example, that one, Salinitas, beautiful place to visit. Okay. We had a seminar June 8th, and we talked to church leaders. We had an attendance of about over 200 Christians. And we talked about preaching in the midst of crisis. I was translating, that's what it is. Preaching in the midst of crisis. In El Salvador, you know, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we've been struggling with the MS-13. And many preachers, you know, they hold themselves to go out and do some evangelism because they might lose their lives if they get confused from one of the contrary gang members. So we were asked to bring this subject to encourage the preachers to do evangelism in the midst of that situation. So Chris had the opportunity to speak 2 lessons. And of course, I was the translator. But also, Doug spoke on that occasion. It was actually more like an announcement, but he was awesome. Okay, we also were able to deliver solo prayers. We took some 60 solo prayers to this event, so we can equip Christians. And I've been able to deliver in other countries several times, but on this occasion we went to this place to share with our brothers and sisters the solo prayers. Some pictures about that delivery. Okay, we were able to preach and teach while we were in El Salvador. Doug had the opportunity to speak in a couple of occasions to different places, one in Zapotitan and the other one was in Ahuachapan. Those are 2 different cities. And also Chris Wimfer spoke in Guayua once. My wife Mayra also had the opportunity to speak to ladies a couple of occasions. And even my daughter Ashley had the opportunity to teach a children's class. She got their attention, isn't it? All right. We were able to do a research for a possible Bible school in El Salvador. So we met with church leaders to discuss the possibility to have a SIBI partner school there. And the meeting went well. It seems like pretty soon we will have a Bible Institute in El Salvador. That will benefit a lot the work of the Lord in El Salvador. Because when we have a grand school there, I mean, that means we will have more churches to be planted in the future. So I can see a great benefit by having that institute there. Also, we were able to do some groceries donation. My wife Mayra, prior to our trip to Central America, she came up with this idea of raising funds for poor families in those countries. So she made pupusas in exchange for donations. And thanks to the Lord, we were able to deliver those donations while we were in El Salvador. And that particular occasion, we had to walk quite a distance, about 2 miles in order to get to to the homes of the Christians. So Chris, help us, and of course, Brother Doug, will help us to deliver those donations as well. Right, second country, Costa Rica. Well, Costa Rica is beautiful. If you ever want to come to a beautiful place, come to Costa Rica too. It's colorful, it's full of nature. I mean, there are beautiful coast. Well, the name is Rich Coast, Costa Rica. You can see a lot of volcanoes, rainforests, lakes, rivers. There are a lot of good stuff to see in Costa Rica. Right away when we went in June 20th to spend a couple of weeks with the church that we planted by the grace of God. And we right away start a campaign when we arrived. So we put together a team of evangelists and we went out to preach the word. At first, we found rejection because in Costa Rica, you know, the main religion is Catholicism, and they are pretty strong Catholics, so they don't like very much other religions. And at first, we kind of like were facing rejection, but we preach. We preach also gospel meetings at night at church in order to have a chance to have visitors. And the first night, we had some restorations. Some church members decided to restore their commitment to the Lord. And we basically continue preaching. And thanks to God, by the end of the campaign, we had 7 baptisms. And we were very encouraged because by knowing that Costa Rica is a very hard field, and the Lord took us to those persons so we can talk to them, and they respond right away. So we saw the hand of God in all of this. So we did home visits. As I mentioned, Costa Rica is a place where we worked 7 years, planting a church from 2010 through 2017. And we wanted to check on the brothers. So we visit them in their homes to see how they're doing. And we were very encouraged by them because they seem to have roots in their faith, you know. And also it was good to see them back. I mean, this is the people that we worked with for 7 years, and we built up pretty strong relationships. And those are the kids that Daniel and Ashley basically played when they were babies. So we love them very much. Third country, Nicaragua. Nicaragua has its own too. It's a beautiful country. A little humid, but beautiful. Nicaragua is beautiful. Is that right, David?
That's right.
We had another campaign in Nicaragua. Through the help of a local preacher, we put together a team with the church members. A lot of young people attended so we can evangelize. But the strategy there was a little different. We basically went to visit contacts that they had. We did not do door knocking in that particular location. We just went to visit the contacts. So we went and preached them in their homes. And also we held gospel meetings. Some came forward and decided to join the Lord in baptism. So by the grace of God, we had 6 conversions in Nicaragua. We were very excited too for that fruit. But I want to share with you very quick this story, because this is one of the converts that came out of that effort. That's Omar. Omar, he is a truth seeker. Omar was the leader of a denomination when we met him. Interesting, even though he was a leader, he didn't know the gospel. Because in that particular denomination, they basically promote faith in Jesus by telling people their testimony, but they don't actually use the Bible much to bring people to the faith. So Omar, we studied the Bible with him, and he didn't know the gospel. He was not even being baptized in his denomination, because his denomination, they claim not to be a church. So that's why they don't baptize, they don't have, Bible studies. I think, the world is getting to the point that they are tired of religion, and they seek some ways to bring people to faith without using the Bible, without being like a church setting. So when we sat with Omar, we shared the gospel with him. He became very interested in the Bible study. He brought us inside of his home, and we studied the Bible for about an hour or so. And thanks to the Lord, he decided to be baptized. Omar is a very joyful Christian. And one of the things that really I'm excited about him is that he was baptized back in July 5th, 6th, around that date. And as of today, he has brought 3 Christians to the faith. So the Lord is awesome. I mean, when I think about Omar, I think about the Ethiopian eunuch, when the Lord puts us on our way, people that is basically expecting somebody just to tell the message so they can obey. And Omar was one of those. I understand that there are some cases that, you might going to have to study with people for many times. But Omar was ready to obey the gospel. And also we were able to do more food donation in Nicaragua. We went to the marketplace, and we loaded a truck with stuff, so we can put together these bags of groceries, so we can share with brothers and sisters in Nicaragua. And thanks to the Lord and to our donors, we were able to give. The families that were blessed between Nicaragua and El Salvador were 44 families. And I think that's awesome. It was a small, gesture of love, but they were very grateful, because these people that we gave, indeed, they were very poor. So there's a lot of need in those countries. And at the end of our trip, we decided to take some family time. Spend time with relatives. I think that's very important especially when you do a family mission trip. Those on the pictures are my wife's parents. Daniel and Ashley were very excited about being around them. They loved them very much. And also we were able to visit friends, people that we know for years. And also we took time to enjoy ourselves. We took Daniel and Ashley to a couple of places so they can have fun too. So basically, that was our trip. I'm so grateful for this trip, for all the things that we were able to do. But I consider this trip a success. And I say this because God gave us the success. We prayed several months before going to this mission trip. And by doing all these things and seeing what God did through us, I really think that it's a success. So thank you for allowing me to share with you this mission effort.
Thank you, Luis. Man, what a team that was that you took down there. Myra, Ashley, Daniel, thank you for going. I'm not sure what that would have ended up like without you guys. So you get the idea that mission work is eating, beautiful places, beautiful people, and it is. It's beautiful. It's wonderful, and you get to make connections around the table and fellowship with people who are in the kingdom and who are not yet in the kingdom. And I was mindful as I watched some of these pictures of these conversions, how, yes, we bring some food and we help people with a physical hunger, and that is so, so important. And you see the gratefulness and the hope that kind of comes back on in their faces. But then you share with them that gospel message, and suddenly that deep, deep spiritual hunger is filled with the love of Jesus. And that's transformative and powerful and joyful. And so the worker, as he goes out, as Luis and Doug and Chris and Myra and Daniel and Ashley all go out, they're fed in a powerful way just by seeing what the Lord does. I'm very excited to hear about the school possibilities in El Salvador. You know, a school, it did this where we were working on the mission field. It does it in many places. It provides a chance for people to focus on the mission of God. It provides resources. It provides time and opportunity for those students to go out and to connect with families and to see what evangelism looks like, and making those connections from city to city. And it really helps a lot of works to get started in a country in many places where a single focused work without a school sometimes doesn't. So God has really blessed the work of missions in Latin America through many different schools. I'm excited to see another one started in El Salvador. That's great work. Costa Rica. It's nice to return home and see all those families. Thank you, Luis. Thank you for your presentation.